Dr. Garland, are there any modifications to this evening's agenda?
Good evening, Madam President. Yes, item 9A11. A copy has been provided to you and a copy has been uploaded to the website for the public. Number 10A, 10B, and 6J have been revised and copies have been provided to you and copies have been uploaded to the website for the public.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. I move to approve the agenda with the modifications as indicated by Dr. Garland. May I have a second?
Second.
I believe it was Ms. Cabrera. I'll do a roll call roll. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, I would like to call on Dr. Garland.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. It is my pleasure to welcome and introduce our new student ASB member representatives from each of our high schools. Representing our schools are Sandy Membreno from Applied Technology Center High School, Emily Mears from Bell Gardens High School, Lily Idzion from Montebello High School, Samantha Hernandez from Schur High School, and Chantel Johanna Tones from Vail High School. I want to thank all of you for being here with us this evening, and congratulations to all of you for being the elected leaders of your student body at your respective schools. We're excited to hear from you and learn all about the great work and events that are happening at your school sites. I know this may be your first Board of Education meeting, and I want you guys to know we are all very excited to have you here this evening. Your voice is extremely important to everyone in this Zoom room. Your voice is very, very important. So without further delay, we will now have our Board of Education President call on each of you for your reports.
Thank you, Dr. Garland. Sandy Membreno from ATC.
Good afternoon. Okay, so good evening, President Uri, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Cerverna, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Sandy Membreno, and I am the Student Body President for the Applied Technology Center. Our school year finally commenced on August 16th of 2021, leading ATC back into their accustomed in-person school academia. ATC's campus started off well with the protocols being followed and pandemic etiquette being practiced thoroughly. That being said, ATC's ASB put great effort into creating a positive environment for the students as well as into preparing for the first few weeks of school throughout the summer vacation. During those summer months, ATC's ASB continued their monthly weekend clothing drives on June 26th and 27th and July 31st and August 1st, which was greatly supported by the community and brought in great contributions. ATC only got busier as students returned and filled up their classrooms, allowing ATC to finally have their plans to commence fully. For the first day of school, a welcoming pep rally was prepared, which allowed the students of ATC to be informed of essential information. This included faculty, administration, staff, and student body instructions. As half of the students of ATC are barely having their first few steps on the campus as freshmen and sophomores, ASB gave out tours around the campus, which consisted of sharing information about certain locations and pathways for the class of 2024 and 2025. On the dates of August 17th and August 19th, ASB prepared some pathway games, which included the 4 pathways and class of 2025. This sparked some great school spirit within the students and definitely uplifted the school's environment. Another form of going with this school year's concept for ATC Family Reunion was preparing the event labeled as a family picnic, which consisted of preparing a free hot dog lunch for all the students in the field with the help of the chef students as well as ASB. Closing for the first week of school was concluded with a small school palooza for the students of ATC, offering free and joyful experience for students with fair games prepared by ASB, pathways, and clubs. The second week of the 2021-2022 school year was much calmer as it consisted of only 3 important events. On August 23rd, a senior sunrise event took place and free breakfast was offered to the class of 2022 the morning before school started. With the help of GLC club members who voluntarily prepared the breakfast the Saturday before and the ASB members organizing the event, it went quite smoothly. On the same day, ATC also had their picture day. Finishing off the month of August, ATC had another clothing drive on the day of August 28th and 29th, which was also greatly supported. As for the upcoming plans, September is also being planned thoroughly. Currently, election for the class of 2025 ASB officers will take place as of September 7th, which will finally complete the student body. For the week of September 7th through the 10th, a Spirit Week will be held, which will be concluded with the first dance of the school year of 2021-2022. Preparations are already underway for Club Information Day that will be held during school hours on September 14th. Finally, concluding ATC's plans for the month of September with another clothing drive on September 25th. That is all for the Applied Technology Center student body report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy, and welcome. At this time, we'll move on for Emily Mares, Bell Gardens High School.
Good evening, President Uribe, members of the board, superintendent, and executive cabinet. My name is Emily Mares, and I am the Associate Student Body President of Bell Gardens High School for the 2021 to 2022 academic school year. I would like to start off by saying welcome to the 2021 to 2022 academic school year. Our Lancer community would like to thank you all for giving all our Montebello Unified School Districts updates on COVID regulations and COVID cases amongst our peers if any are detected. We are honored to give a summary of our summer one-day LA event that took place July 24th to 2021. It was something that brought not only the students from Bell Gardens High School together, but the whole Bell Gardens community. We had booths for clubs, sports, stores, food trucks, logical eaters, and local businesses from Bell Gardens High School. Bell Gardens. We had students volunteered aiding campus tours for students and parents who had never stepped foot on our campus. We are delighted that 400 volunteers stepped foot on our campus to beautify, paint, and plant. We are thankful that we were chosen, and our sincerest appreciation going out to the stakeholders that made this Moving on, our Lancer community has been very busy these past few weeks with sports, games varying from football, volleyball, and water polo. ASB has been working diligently, creating posters for fall sports in order to create a supportive environment on our campus. Fall athletes have been given another layer of protection by being required to COVID test if they are not fully vaccinated. Bell Gardens High School was host to a vaccination clinic over the summer, and now our students are encouraged to receive their vaccination at walk-up clinics sponsored by the city of Bell Gardens. For our first ASB activity to encourage school spirit, we held a spirit week the week of August 23rd to August 27th. Monday was beach day, Tuesday was movie day, Wednesday was wacky Wednesday, Thursday was date night, Friday was clash of classes. It was such a delight to experience school spirit after being away over 18 months. Bell Gardens High School's desire is to promote all students to feel nurtured, welcomed, safe, and supported through student activities. Our ASB, in collaboration with All Stars program, hosted a lunch filled with lively music on August 20th. Our senior class president, Julissa Perez, has been doing a phenomenal job with coming up with great activities for seniors. She currently has planned the senior sunrise that will be held next week on September 8th. This will be the first senior event for our 12th graders. We intend to provide more activities for all grade levels. We kindly request a follow-up on our still non-functional marquee. As a senior, I never witnessed the marquee as a functioning unit. We urge the Board of Education to please make this a priority as we are in dire need of delivering pertinent information to our families, student community during this pandemic. Thank you so much for encouraging our school activities and opening us for all your MUSD students. The Bell Gardens High School community appreciates the attentiveness given by our board members to a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Emily. We now have Lily. And Lily, can you please help me pronounce your last name from Montebello High School?
Ijian.
One more time.
Ijian.
Jian?
Ijian. It doesn't matter. It's spelled wrong, so it comes like the pronunciation comes out wrong.
Well, thank you. Welcome, Lily.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Uribe, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Skvarna, Executive Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Lily Ejian, and I am the Associated Student Body President at Montebello High School. We started the 2021 to 2022 school year off with a successful registration prior to the start of school. Our first day, we had a staggered start to allow our new freshmen to be greeted by our principal, our ASB, and other administrative staff. The remainder of the week, we met with other grade levels and we hosted assemblies. And at the assemblies, Principal Duarte went over COVID-19 protocols and expectations of our Oilers as we come back to campus for full time. Last week, ASB Executive Cabinet had interviews to fill empty positions in our cabinet. We are also currently holding elections for freshman representatives and to fill empty representative positions. I am happy to announce that on Friday, August 20th, we had the grand opening of our Oiler store, which is located in our Family Resource Center through the Community Schools Initiative. Our community school specialists and educational caseworkers have been helping our students and their families with accessing any necessary resources to ensure students have what they need to be successful. We also had our first pep rally and home football game last Friday at the Heman Field, where we fell to San Dimas High School. We are in the midst of planning a Spirit Week for the week of September 13th to 17th to help students showcase their Oiler pride. On September 10th at lunch, we will be having a 9/11 memorial ceremony in our courtyard, which I extend the invitation out to everyone. To join us. We plan on having the Montebello Police and Fire Department come to speak, and as well representatives from our local armed forces. On September 18th, our family resource partners are working with the MUSD to host a health fair at our school to help families with resources and assist them to sign up for Medi-Cal. Overall, I am happy to announce that we had a great comeback amidst the chaos due to COVID-19, but I'm happy to say that our school is being very safe and following protocols very closely, and so are the students. So yeah, thank you for the time and acknowledgement, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Are there any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Lily. Are there any questions or comments from the board? No, thank you. You did wonderful. Have a good evening. Samantha Hernandez from Shore High School.
Good evening, President Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Skvarna, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Samantha Hernandez, and I'm the Student Body Representative from Shore High School. Today, I'll be discussing the latest updates regarding the status of Shore High School. The first day of school started August 16th. Although students were not able to go on campus in person, our school has been able to come together and persevere. We're continuing to do so with modified distance learning for the time being. 10th and 11th graders will be taking the PSAT on October 18th, or that's the planned date. Regarding sports, our football team is 1-1 with the devastating loss by California High School. But they had an amazing comeback last week with South Torrance High School. In addition to that, our school's ASB for the first time was able to sell tickets online using GoFan to reduce contact and keep social distancing protocols in place. From our first game, we made a total revenue of $1,700 from online tickets alone. We will continue to use this application for future games to keep social distancing in place. Our varsity football team also has an upcoming game this Friday against Aurora High School at 7 p.m. So if any of the members want to join, yeah. Our girls volleyball team are 8-0. They're undefeated. They've won several schools, including Downey, California High School, Pioneer, and others. Regarding clubs, we have been able to secure new members through Club Rush that we had during registration. Basically, an officer from each club came to campus and they told incoming freshmen and sophomores that have never been on campus about their organizations and that different clubs that we have at school. That same day during registration, we also had safety protocols in place. We put arrows and a pathway so that students, new students, returning students, and parents could walk and follow that pathway so they didn't run into each other and mess with the safety protocols. We have a new club, actually. It's called the Biochemistry Club. So students who are interested in the subjects such as biology and chemistry become tutors and they help their peers. The freshman elections are coming up next week with all grade levels of our ASB are beginning to form their cabinets, so they're getting new members as well. We are hoping to host a blood drive with the American Red Cross in the foreseeable future, hopefully before December. And ASB has created posters and signs to promote a safe and welcoming environment when students do come back in person. We are all eager to come back, but stay apart at the same time. And that's all I have for the Shore High School report. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Sandy. Are there any questions from the board? No questions. Have a blessed evening, Sandy. I'm sorry, Sandy, Samantha. I apologize. Next, we have Chantal Joanna Torres from Vail High School.
Good evening, Madam President Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Scrivana, and the Executive Cabinet. My name is Chantal Torres, and I am the student body president from Vail High School. As our 2021 through 2022 school year begins, we are looking forward to making this year a great year for our Vail students. We are happy to be back on campus with our friends and teachers. It's been a long time since we have been at school and everyone looks happy. We are planning and hoping to have a prom and grad night this year. It will be nice to get back to normal. Hopefully everything will get better and we will be able to have our prom and grad night. Our teachers are keeping us safe by making sure we have our mask and our desk buddies up. We appreciate that the district and the school is doing to keep us safe. We hope to make our senior year the best possible. Thank you for your time. This is Chantal Torres, ASB President.
Thank you so much, Chantal. And for Community Day School, it is actually not announced yet, so we will proceed now. Thank you to all of the students who were here with us today. At this time, I would like to call on Dr. Ewan, presentation on Headstart Program School Readiness Evaluation.
Hello, good evening, members of the board, community and executive cabinet. Before I begin, I would like to share with the board and our community about our quality early learning programs. We recently received funding for Early Head Start, which is an early learning program for pregnant mothers and children ages 0 to 3. We also have Head Start, an early learning program for children ages 3 to 4. Both of these programs have income requirements. Please call the Head Start Early Learning Office for more information. So as part of the program quality indicators and monitoring of programs that the district is required to perform, Head Start worked with Claremont Graduate University to conduct an evaluation of the program for the 2020-2021 school year. Tonight, we have Claremont Graduate University presenting a summary of their findings. I would like to call on Mr. Daniel Orozco, Director of Head Start and Early Learning, to share a little more about the evaluation.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, Superintendent Scrivana, and Executive Cabinet. And thank you, Dr. Ewan, for sharing our recruitment flyer, as it's now encompasses all the district early education programs, which is really a step for a more centralized system for our families, and it really helps alleviate some of the confusion in terms of what the registration process is like for each of the individual early ed programs. And for Head Start, it's particularly important just because our funding is based on us meeting our funding enrollment, which is 666 students. It's always a pleasure to be able to speak to the board and share information about Head Start, so I appreciate the opportunity. Just to give you a little context in the report that you're going to be hearing, the Head Start program collects multiple sources of data, and we utilize various tools and platforms, and it really helps us in our decision-making process. We analyze this information, and it assists us in promoting continuous quality improvement. And this data is a requirement that we documented in our refunding application, was basically as a narration, a summary of the year and what we've accomplished and what we hope to accomplish in the upcoming year, and the specific goals and objectives that we set in the refunding application. We also utilize this data for other reporting requirements, such as we have to do a program information report, a community assessment, a self-assessment, and there are various other reports that we have to submit. Because our reporting is so extensive, we looked at different strategies and approaches just to better understand the data analysis process and help us create meaning to the data that we obtain. We also needed to better align these data sources to see if there was consistency or correlations among the data and conclusions that we were forming. And this effort is really for us to make informed decisions about program activities, about program goals, and just how we approach services to our families. Therefore, given all of these data sources and our understanding of data and data analysis that can be a little bit intimidating. So having worked with Dr. Berry and the assessment department of Claremont, I reached out to them last year just to assist us in this process and help us better understand data and data collection and help us have a more centralized, a more refined system to analyze that data. I had worked with Dr. Berry previously with a TK project, and so I thought they would be great to assist us in this process. And so I'm very happy for you to hear their report and to share their findings. And I have to qualify by saying all was conducted during remote instruction. So it's all through virtual learning. We're hoping that this year will involve more in-person kinds of data collection, data processes. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Betsy Blackard, Dr. Michelle Sloper, and Dr. Tiffany Berry. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Daniel. I'm Michelle Sloper, and Betsy is on the call as well from our team. Unfortunately, Tiffany couldn't join us tonight because she was teaching, so we're going to go ahead and lead the presentation. We appreciate you all just for hosting us tonight and giving us the chance to talk about our collaboration with MUSD Headstart and the evaluation that we did last year and some of the plans that we have upcoming. So I'm going to go ahead and share some slides with you all, and we'll chat about that. Okay, can you see the slides? Okay, great. So like I mentioned, we partnered with the Head Start office this year to work on evaluation, and we're going to present a really high level summary of the findings. We also prepared a full report, which is available. If you want to dig in a little bit deeper, we're just going to give a quick summary of what we found today and what we're going to do next year as well. So our team comes from the Claremont Evaluation Center at Claremont Graduate University. Betsy, myself, and Tiffany, and our expertise really blends the fields of developmental psychology with the program evaluation. And what that essentially means is that we bring these different scientific theories, data collection strategies, and approaches, and we apply them to our collaborations with different community-based educational organizations that serve children, youth, and families. And we're really thrilled with our partnership with MUSD last year and moving into the 21-22 year as well. Okay, so why do we engage in this evaluation? We like to start all of our projects with just having a shared understandings about what the goals of the project are and why we're doing the evaluation. And after conversations, a number of conversations we had with the Head Start team at MUSD, we realized that, like Daniel said, there was a lot of existing data sources that were available. So our goal was to analyze those in new and meaningful ways and bring the data together with the overall goal of engaging in continuous program improvement. So how can we strategically use the data, the trends, the findings that we can arrive at to make sure the program is doing the best it possibly can? And in the, and sort of the very North Star to all the work that we're doing, all of the work that you all do, is that we really want to offer the best services possible to the children and families that are participating in the program. And so we really see that not only as a goal of the program, but as a goal of the evaluation is to support that as our overarching goal. So what we did with those goals in mind was we analyzed 4 different kind of types of data that we used to kind of tell a story about MUSD, about the participants, about the types of services, and about the impacts of those services. So there are 4 main categories you'll see here. We did attendance and participation. We looked some at the developmental outcomes, also the quality of the services being provided, and family and community engagement. And like Daniel said, this year was slightly different from previous years just because of the virtual nature of programming. So we're really hoping to expand on all these categories in the upcoming year. So now I'm going to pass it off to Betsy, and she's going to chat with you all about some of the high-level findings from our evaluation last year.
All right. Thanks, Shelley. So first, I'm going to talk about the attendance and participation rates. So as Shelley and Daniel mentioned, because of COVID-19, the program was delivered completely virtually. So children were logging in from devices or computers to participate. But in spite of the difficulties of virtual participation, 81% of the available spaces were taken, and a majority of those were 4-year-olds. So that represents 542 children total. Also, in spite of the difficulties COVID presented, on average, the program saw a daily attendance rate of around 82%, which we think is pretty impressive. Next, we looked into children's development across the school year. So from the beginning of the fall semester to the end of the spring semester, program children demonstrated significant increases in scores for several DRDP subject areas. So social and emotional development and literacy were highest, as you can see, but all of those areas represent significant gains across that school year. And one factor that was significantly related to those gains was attendance. So as attendance increased, so too did the social and emotional development and English language development scores of program children. We also examined the quality of instruction by examining how closely teachers align to the pyramid model curriculum. So on average, program classrooms were about 75% faithful to the curriculum, whereas it was relatively easy for teachers to adhere to prescribed schedules and transitions. We saw lower levels of fidelity when it came to emotional skill development, but this could be due to COVID-19. So virtual instruction could make it much harder to engage in the behaviors that foster emotional skills. It might require in-person one-on-one kind of interactions that are just so much more challenging virtually. So in the coming year, we're going to examine program quality using more comprehensive measures that are going to allow us to get kind of a more granular sense of the quality of services being delivered and the program being delivered in person, and our ability to also be there in person to conduct evaluations will help a lot with getting that more granular level of understanding. And then finally, we examined family engagement using Learning Genie, which is a messaging app that both parents and teachers could use to communicate with each other. So over the course of the school year, more than 44,000 messages were sent back and forth in that app, and just over half of those were sent by the teachers and staff, meaning that there was a really nice back and forth communication between the program and families, rather than just like one-sided info blasts coming from the program. Yes, Marisol.
Yes, I have a question. Can we actually go back one slide? So just a quick question regarding the more comprehensive measures, what does that look like?
So that's actually a question for Shelley. I'm not sure what kinds of measures we're going to be using.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the main measures that's really common in early childhood is using what's called the class observation system, which is something that both the MUSD staff as well as we can come into the classroom and sit down with the teacher and watch them interacting. It really does focus on how children and their teacher are interacting in the development and learning process. So that is a really big one that we weren't able to do because of the virtual nature of programming. So that is a big one. And I know there are several other indicators of quality that are typically used by MUSD during normal school years. And maybe Daniel can speak to that a bit more. But this was kind of the only measure we had available this year. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so as I was saying, the 60% sent by teachers and staff really gives us a sense that there was more of a back and forth rather than like a one-way communication, which is really optimistic. It's really great to hear that parents were communicating back and forth with teachers. And so in addition to sending simply text messages, we saw the next most sent thing was photos. So for example, parents might have been sending pictures of their children at home using materials delivered by the program. Teachers could send video books, and that was the next most used thing. And they were also sending a lot of reminders about, maybe like upcoming events or other important things for the parents. So we saw a lot of engagement with the families using Learning Genie. And then we also found an important relationship between family engagement on Learning Genie and daily attendance. So classrooms with higher engagement through the app had a higher daily average attendance as well.
Thanks, Betsy. I realize that is a very high level and pretty quick summary. We don't want to take too much of your time, but we really do hope that if you have other questions or you want to reach out to us or read the full report, it's available and has a lot more information about our findings. But basically, because we found such interesting things last year, we have a lot of big plans for what we're going to do in the upcoming school year. So I'll kind of run us through what we're planning to do next, this current school year. So first of all, we will continue to support the Headstart office with their refunding application, which is one of the federal requirements that Daniel was speaking about earlier. What we're planning to do this year is really to include more data sources and also more sophisticated analyses to explore the relationships that we saw emerge this year. So we're hoping to provide more of an empirical basis for some more of the narrative elements of that application. Another thing we're really excited about is hoping to tell a more rich and detailed story about the impact of the Headstart program on participating families through gathering their stories via interviews. So we can help MUSD to tell a story about how the program is really changing the lives of those children and their families through participation. Additionally, there has been a lot going on at the state level as far as their emphasis on early learning. So we think it's a great opportunity for the Headstart program to really look at the alignment between what Headstart is offering at MUSD and the state and federal early learning standards. So we're going to plan to do that. Additionally, with the recent access that the Headstart office was given to the Power School system, we'll be able to explore outcomes for child participants starting in the early Head Start and the Head Start program, but we can track them over time into kindergarten and beyond to understand how outcomes are different as students go through the program, which is really wonderful. And sort of in line with what we spoke about earlier, we're going to continue to focus on really using that great data that the Office of Head Start was already collecting to make sure that we're leveraging it to make sure that the program is the best possible that it can be for children and families. And that's our presentation for today. I know it was brief. We really appreciate your time. A special thank you to Daniel, Martha, Feely, and Vicky in the Head Start office for really being our team on this project. We're really excited about the upcoming school year, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments about, or just want to see the report in its entirety or kind of continue this discussion. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelly. I was wondering, can we actually have a copy of this presentation?
Of course, yeah. I think I can share it with you. I think Daniel has a copy of it, so maybe that's a best way to get it from him.
We'll share a copy of the presentation and the full report in the Friday memo.
Thank you so much. And I also wanted to share that I'm a CGU student, so go Claremont. Woo!
Yay! We love it.
Appreciate your support. Thank you. Are there any
You
questions
too.
from the board?
I have a question, Madam President. And it's just more of an explanation so that I could further understand. I seen that you have English language and you also have literature development. And I seen that there was a different, like a significant difference of like the scoring, right? It was like 48% to 32%. Can you explain to me like what the difference is and what, puts that together, or how did that come about? And what are the differences between English language and literature development?
Sure, yeah. So the the scores that we were showing you guys came from the desired results developmental profile, which is a specific way of measuring. And so those are the scores that we were using for those. And we have the DRDP. So the DRDP splits English language, so proficiency in English specifically, as opposed to whatever the child's native language might be, from literacy, which would be like reading. So those were just two different areas of ability that the DRDP measures in children across the school year. And so we saw the difference in scores between those two things because they're really two completely different skill areas.
So when the children are they reading in English?
In the program, I believe so. Daniel would know more about that.
So the program is designed to meet all the language needs of our children. So we provide them with whatever primary language support they need when they first enter the classroom, with the goal being that we will be conducting instruction in English. So we individualize our program based on the needs of our children. And so if our children come in with the majority of them speaking one particular language, then we begin instruction in that language and then move towards that English proficiency. And then the desired results that Betsy was referring to, it's really an observation tool that we utilize to collect data on a child and their development. It's a formative assessment. And then we do a formal administration of that observation tool, assessing the child in the 9 domains that are part of the California Preschool Learning Foundations. And those are also aligned to our Head Start child outcomes. And so there is a distinction between language and literacy and then English language development. And the English language development is very similar to the process that someone who is learning English at a different age follows. It's not necessarily developmental the way that the other content areas are.
Got it.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. And then one of the things is to add with the class, that's a very extensive assessment that's done. And it's really measuring the engagement between the teacher and the child and the teacher, the children amongst each one another, excuse me. And it's particularly important this year, and our board president and board member Cabrera can attest to federal reviews. We are going to be federal reviewed this year on class and our class assessments. It's particularly important that we are able to really understand the instruments and really understand the outcomes of the instruments, and that we're holding those instruments or implementing them to fidelity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments or questions? Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Orozco.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to school service organization reports. Dr. Yuen, do we have any to be read?
There were no reports submitted. Sorry, there were no reports submitted.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move on to our employee organization reports. And I will begin with MUSD POA.
I believe they do not have a report, Board President.
AMSA, Dr. Gallardo, president, is unable to make it. How about MTA, Mr. Navarre?
Yes, I am here. Good evening, Board President Uribe, members of the board, Superintendent Scarvana, cabinet, fellow teachers, and community members. My name is Dave Navarre, and I'm the president of the Montebello Teachers Association. As I visit schools, and as we heard from our student leaders this evening, I find that students and teachers are happy to be back together in person. They are anxious, but happy to see each other. I had the pleasure of seeing an old student at Montevallo High School. She had been a student who had not been the biggest fan of going to school in the past, but she responded she was very happy to be back in school and she was having a lot of fun. As a teacher, that is what we want to hear, and it feels good. But there are a multitude of issues facing our students. These are issues of social justice, educational justice, of equity and access. And at MTA, we are advocates not only for our members, but for our students and families as well. For the last 2 weeks, we have focused on the rat infestation at Sure High School. School did not open when it was supposed to. This moment does not define who we are, and we will move forward. But how we respond to this crisis will define us. After visiting Sure High School this morning, I saw a lot of the good work, a lot of the results of the good work that has been done, but we are not quite ready to receive students. We are looking to this board and to this administration to ensure that Sure High School is ready soon. I want to make sure that we all understand that a big part of being ready means a fully functioning air conditioning system school-wide. Although this event made national news, unfortunately, it is not the only issue that our district is facing right now. District-wide, there are class size inequities at many schools. I have been contacted by teachers who have independent studies class sizes with 40 or 50 students. In one, there is more than 50 students. Yes, administration has fixed this problem, and starting tomorrow, the class will be divided and class size lowered. For that, we are thankful. But it is not the only the independent studies that has class size issues. Classrooms throughout the district are also not balanced, and this is not conducive to teaching or learning. At the elementary level, I have heard from many teachers that are struggling with combo classes as well. We are cognizant of the challenges in balancing classes, and that is where our district focus needs to be. For some reason, things that seem to be easy are not easy in our district. Details that should be expedited so the focus returns to the difficult and important work take too much time and far too much effort. For example, there is a district mandate that desk buddies be on all desks. Although I appreciate the effort of the district to try to make everyone safe, unfortunately, the desk buddies do not fit the desk. Teachers have been spending countless hours to try to make them work, using paper clips to make them work because they do not fit, folding them in weird ways to make them fit. There is no mandate from the Valley County Department of Public Health or the California Department of Public Health to have desk buddies. The CDC does not require them, yet the district insists that they be in place. MUSD is mandating desk buddies that do not fit on desk to be on desk. Desk buddies inhibit vision, they inhibit hearing, and ultimately they inhibit learning. Most importantly, desk buddies are not keeping us safe from COVID. What should be easy in this district is not. Please make their use optional. I'm sure that you have all been reading in the news about how districts throughout this country, the state, have been struggling with positive cases and quarantining students. And I honor all the people who are trying to keep our schools safe. At Montebello, we are not facing these issues, not because these issues are not real for us, but because there is no testing in place. These issues are the hard issues that we need to be focusing on, that we should have focused on. Not how many paper clips does it take to keep the desk buddy up to comply with the district mandate. Every day I hear that our members need to be collaborative and be flexible, and they are. I have spoken with many teachers who are helping at their schools in ways that are above and beyond their duties. Our teachers are helping to keep this district afloat. It is time for us to change this question. When is the district going to be collaborative and flexible with us? There is little space to talk about the longstanding issues that have plagued MUSD, or to place blame on all of the people that were here before us. We are here now. The time is now. We are the people who are going to solve these problems. How are we going to come together to move this district forward? The teachers have been here and will continue to be here to advocate for educational justice for our students. We need this board and this district to work with us. We cannot waste another second of our students' valuable instructional time. The time is now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Nabar. CSEA President, Ms. Rivera.
Good evening, Madam President, Madrigal Uribe, and members of the board, and Dr. Scavarna, and Executive Cabinet, and classified employees and community members. School has started, and all classified employees had to roll out and support our parents in the process of the daily wellness. As we continue, we need to provide more adequate support to one another. It's exciting but at the same time, we're trying to make sure that our parents feel safe and adequate support as whatever is needed. And Classify is trying to do the best as they can with the personnel that they have. In 2016, 2017, Classify employees received layoffs, reduction in hours in the Classify service. Since then, we have not recovered positions that have become vacant throughout the sites. Here we are in 2021, and we still have not recovered fully all the vacancy positions. The job of Classify has increased tremendously, but the personnel has not been increased. My brother and sisters, we all know the situation that has happened at Sure High School, the rat infestation that made national news pretty much. Let's ask ourselves the question, what caused an infestation of rats? Food is one of the most common reasons a rat or a mouse will enter. They will eat anything you leave out, especially peanut butter and chocolate. When COVID hit, no one was at the school site inside the classrooms. My brothers and sisters did not get an opportunity to remove any items inside the classrooms accordingly. Let's not go further than that. The custodial was there, but to do what is needed and not to do housekeeping. The job of a custodial is to trash out, sweep, spot mop as necessary, blow down all areas and remove all graffiti. There's only 6 custodials at that site when there used to be a total of 10 custodials. Their job does not consist of cleaning microwaves, emptying out items left in the refrigerators, and clear out cabinets inside the classrooms. Let's not forget that the site is a learning environment for students, not a food store inside the classroom, not a place to create extra personnel funds, or even having your own Venmo accounts for students to use in order to purchase items themselves during school hours. Dr. Scarvana has mentioned multiple times that he takes the responsibility of what is happening because he is the one in charge. That's leadership. But unfortunately, the reality of everything is we need to provide adequate classroom settings that do not have microwaves or refrigerators. We need to provide staff adequate lunch areas. Let's create that and make it accessible to all the staff. The funding from the district needs to go to the needs of our students and also the labor force that will continue to do the job that is necessary. We continue to hear AC units are not being handled, but let me mention this to you, board members, and I know you've heard it once and multiple times. We have 2 HVACs for 32 sites when we used to be with more than 10. You know, as I mentioned before, on another note, I have requested district vehicles for our attendance officers. It's a safety matter as they are visiting our families. And as of now, it has not happened. Please be aware that it's important for them to have a district vehicle in order to show more district presence that we are protecting our employees too. Their job is so important as they visit every family member within our district. Transportation. I am looking forward in the filling of positions that have been pending for a long time. As our special ed programs are increasing, total of 13 positions should be filled soon. This is exciting news because we'll provide the service as required. Dr. Scarvana acknowledges the needs of classified personnel throughout our district. He understands the value of classified employees as we continue to work together as a team. We are here to work together, not to pinpoint one another. We are here to collaborate. All I ask is communication, accountability, transparency. That's all I ask. And we're here to work together because our primary thing is our students' needs. You know, COVID has hit in so many different levels throughout. We need to provide support to our students from TK, from Headstart, from TK to 12th grade, and from adults. We need to provide those necessary services that are required. But I leave you with this. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts by Winston Churchill. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera. At this time, we will move on to legal comments, and I would like to call on Mr. McGuire.
I have no comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We will now move on to public comment. Ms. Copillo, do we have any to be read?
Good evening, Board President Uribe. We do have 15 written public comments. The first one regards dual immersion. Hola, soy mamá de dos niños que asisten a clases de doble inmersión y quisiera que por favor tuvieran maestro para todos los niños de doble inmersión que se quedarán en estudio independiente. Creo que tuvieron el tiempo suficiente para prepararse. Las clases están a punto de empezar y ustedes, el distrito, no están listos para responder preguntas ni para suplir los materiales ni maestros para el estudio independiente que ustedes ofrecen. Sí, por favor, pudieran tomar más en serio la educación de los niños. Gracias, Nan G. Dual Immersion Mandarin Program at Bella Vista Elementary. Hello, MUSD board members. I am writing to you regarding my concerns over the MUSD Dual Immersion Mandarin Program at Bella Vista Elementary. My daughter is enrolled in the pilot class, currently in 3rd grade. We have Mandarin teachers for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and currently do not have a kindergarten Mandarin teacher. This concerns me very much. Last year, our students lost 1 full month of Mandarin instruction because our teacher had not been hired yet. This, on top of distance learning, had a huge negative effect on this class. Luckily, our teacher came on board in September, but it embedded a deep concern with this program and the attainment/retainment of our Mandarin teachers. Having no Mandarin teacher for our kindergarten class is going to have a much deeper negative outcome for our program and its ability to succeed. We have also lost our TOSA, who supported our Mandarin program, and the replacement has not been hired. In its 3rd year, I, along with other DIA parents, feel that MUSD is not fully invested in this program. We've had to continually fight for support for this program, which does not have additional resources as a Spanish/English dual immersion program that are able to lean on various MUSD schools for support. Something needs to be done about hiring our Mandarin teachers every year. Either invest more money in obtaining visas from Mandarin teachers overseas, allowing emergency credential teachers, or more job incentives to retain these teachers. As you know, many schools are now offering Mandarin dual immersion programs in our area, so Mandarin teachers are in high demand. I am asking for serious, actionable steps to be taken to help support this program. Thank you, Marlene L. Ramirez. Bella Vista Elementary Cleanliness and Upkeep. Hello. I would like you to expedite the necessary steps to upkeep and maintain BVE to make the environment safe, clean, and sanitary for our children and staff. We were promised filtered water system, which is not in place. A lot of the space is cluttered and not clean prior to school opening. This is not forgivable as the school has been closed for the whole school year, and there are plenty of time to get all the upkeep done. Thank you for your time and attention. Cindy Yo, BVE parent. COVID-19 positive cases versus online learning. Good afternoon. My main concern during this new school year, how far will this school year go during this terrible Delta variant surge? How many kids, families, and staff will it take for our district to please review and think what is safe? Flu season has not started. The amount of cases will rise. This will not be a safe place for our kids, teachers, families. Please rethink about this. There's enough time to replan online learning. Independent studies, that is not good enough. If my kids get sick, I'm not a healthy person, it can affect our family very bad. This was not the time to bring our schools back in person. So what was told half in person, half online? Please rethink this out. In 2 weeks, how many kids have to quarantine? As school starts, flu season starts, we are heading to disaster. Independent studies was not a good option. Truly appreciate your time. Please think about the effects this is starting, please. Rocio Aguilar. Next subject, regular board meeting, September 1 comment. Hello, I am a parent and my kids attend La Merced Intermediate, and La Merced Elementary. I would suggest for kids to get weekly testing as other school districts are doing. The health questionnaire does not help if parents don't answer correctly, or in other words, lie about it. Thank you, Edith Gomez. Next comment, disinfecting wipes. Hello, I am concerned with the disinfectants being given to students to wipe down their desks daily. Disinfectants given to children are against the Healthy Schools Act. In addition, not all the tubs of wipes are labeled. Those that are labeled say harmful to humans, keep out of reach of children, wash hands and clothes immediately. The chemical is Super 60 foam, which appears to be a pesticide. It's safe to use in classes, but I believe not by students. Being that they are dry wipes with chemicals being added, we could add an alcohol-based hand sanitizer or soap-based solution, which are both allowed. Thank you, John Dasiak. Next comment regarding Wilcox Elementary. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and community members. My name is Luisa Montoya, and I am a parent of a second grader at Wilcox Elementary in class with 19 students, which makes me very happy because I feel he is safer and his education will benefit from the small class size. I am concerned that the district is going to try to combine classes and create large classes and classes with grade level combinations. Both these options are not good choices. My child needs second grade instruction from his teacher every day, all day. What is the point of desk buddies and COVID safety if we are going to cram a bunch of students in a room? Please protect class size and no combination classes. Thank you. Next comment. Buenas noches. Yo estoy preocupada por mis hijos porque pienso que no están tomando las precauciones necesarias. Yesenia Castaneda. Next comment, independent studies. Hi, my daughter is in 5th grade in Washington Elementary School and attending independent studies. I am really concerned about the progress being made. It's just 2.5 hour daily synchronous learning, which is not enough for them. Request you to increase the synchronous learning time more, otherwise they will be lagging far behind the children going to in-person classes. Another suggestion I would like to make is, at least for students in independent studies, but are part of GATE program, can there be any way the worksheets that is being done in class be made available? As parents, we are ready to teach them based on that. So when they will be choking back the in-person class after December, my child won't be lagging behind. Why can't distance learning be made available for kids this year too? As a concerned parent, I am not comfortable sending kids to school without their vaccine being made available, and the cases are increasing too. If my daughter continues to be in independent studies at this pace, I am sure she will be lagging behind other kids. Lakshmi Govind. Next comment. Board members, parents, and students, after 20+ years of teaching, I am addressing the board for the first time. My issue is the adding of more combination classes to our school in this unprecedented time. We already have 2 combination classes with talk of adding 1 or 2 more. This action is not in the students' best interest. Filling the classroom with as many students as possible leads to greater exposure to the coronavirus as well as academic issues. According to my iReady scores, I already have 4 levels in my non-combination classroom. There was a variety of participation in distance learning, and with only 2 weeks in, I can already see major gaps. Parents have already expressed concerns that the safety procedures we have implemented are not enough, and I feel there will be an enormous backlash when their students are moved to classrooms at full capacity. I have taught combination classes before, and even under the best circumstances, they are difficult. At this time, I feel we will be setting our students up to fail. Thank you for your time, Christina Ratana. Question: why are temperature checks not being done in the morning? It would be more effective than a wellness check. It is so easy for people to lie on those. Weekly COVID tests for staff and students would also be a good idea. I understand that these are not 100% effective. We should be doing everything possible to protect kids, even if they take longer to do in the morning or if parents get mad. I also want to do, why does the district waste money on workbooks that the student never touches? Last year, I counted 16 books for one student. My children have been going to MUSD schools for 7 years, and every year it's the same with these workbooks. Thank you, Candace Guardado. Next comment, parent concern. Just a concern of mine, hopefully it can be addressed. I have 2 kids that attend Joseph Gascon Elementary. I walk them to the gate entrance every morning to show the daily wellness check results. There is a lot of foot traffic around the school, and everyone, including the kids, are having to walk around trash on the sidewalks while avoiding walking into other people passing. Who is responsible for that cleanup? Monica Sanchez. Next comment. Buenos días, MUSD Board. Como todos estamos preocupados, seguridad de nuestros hijos en las escuelas, debido a que muchos de los chicos no están vacunados y varios se rehúsan a usar la mascarilla, especialmente mi preocupación por los chicos de necesidades especiales como mi hija. Muchos de ellos tienen condiciones médicas que se les es difícil utilizar la mascarilla, siendo esta un requisito para estar en la escuela. Además, no se le está proporcionando COVID test y prueba de vacuna. Creo que este paso sería muy importante para la seguridad no solo de los chicos, sino de todo el personal que labora en las escuelas con ellos. Espero que se pueda hacer más y tener recursos hoy diferentes o más opciones para la seguridad de los chicos y de todo el personal. Gracias por leer mi comentario de antemano. Muchas gracias. Isaura González. The next comment is a letter that has been signed by 109 parents. Mesa Directiva del Distrito de Montebello. Estimados miembros de Mesa Directiva de Montebello, por medio de la presenta, nos dirigimos a ustedes para informarles de nuestras preocupaciones que tenemos con respecto a los estudiantes de la escuela Winter Gardens. Los padres estamos tomando un alto riesgo de mandar a nuestros hijos a la escuela debido al mensaje que nos enviaron del distrito de permitirle a nuestros hijos que asistirían a la escuela físicamente o en su defecto quedarían como estudiantes de estudios independientes, el cual no ofrece una garantía de que esos estudios serán de beneficio académico para los estudiantes, tomando en cuenta de que han tenido 1 año y medio sin asistir a la escuela regular y esto les ha afectado en su aprendizaje. Por lo tanto, optamos de mayoría de enviar a nuestros hijos a las escuelas, pero exigimos que implementen estrictamente las sugerencias de la CDC por sus siglas, Centro para el Control y la Prevención de Enfermedades, y CGE por sus siglas, Departamento de Educación de California. Verificar sus temperaturas antes de ingresar al plantel escolar, ofrecerle pruebas del COVID-19, mantener una distancia de al menos 3 pies, pedir cuarentena de los hermanas de estudiantes que han sido mandados a casa para cuarentena. Queremos clases más pequeñas y queremos hacer énfasis en este punto, ya que nos están mezclando niños de kinder con primero y estudiantes de cuarto con quinto. Esto estaría afectando directamente la salud y seguridad de los niños, incluyendo su aprendizaje debido al exceso de estudiantes en los salones, y hay más probabilidades de un contagio. Desde que inició ese virus, se nos pidió estrictamente distanciamiento de personas y aquí no están respetando esto. Se menciona que el distrito haría todo lo posible para tener clases más pequeñas, empezando el segundo mes escolar, y vemos que no están haciendo eso. Según TK y Kindergarten, sería de 20 estudiantes y para cuarto y quinto sería 29 y por lo que menos hay más de 30. Las combinaciones solo estarán afectando el nivel académico de muchos estudiantes y al mismo tiempo poniendo en riesgo su salud y seguridad. Por lo tanto, les pedimos encarecidamente que disuelvan estas clases combinadas inmediatamente, puesto que todos sabemos que en esos momentos tan críticos, en especial para niños de edad preescolar y primaria, no hay vacuna para protegerlos. Queremos que sean más consistentes y realmente piensen en nuestros hijos, no más clases combinadas en Winter Gardens no es nada saludable ni apropiado en estos momentos y creemos que como padres tenemos el derecho de pedirles estas cosas y ustedes brindarles. The rest remains pretty repetitive. So at this point, I'm going to cease reading this letter. But again, it's concerning, it was signed by 109 parents. Last written comments from Bill Whitmore, members of the Montebello Unified School District Board of Education and interim superintendent. On behalf of the Friends of the Montebello Unified School District Foundation, I would like to invite you to view the 2021 Service to Education Awards event scheduled for October 24, 2021, starting at 4 p.m. Honorees of the 2021 Service to Education Award will include 14 current and former MUSD college counselors, along with Vanessa Stinnett, president of the Scholarships for Scholars of Montebello, SSM organization, and the Scholarships for Scholars of Montebello organization. Also highlighted will be the 2021 Foundation Scholarship recipients. Viewers may show their support for the foundation through their participation in the online auction or making a donation to the foundation. Shown below is a link to the registration page. Registration is free for the event. Please let me know if you have any questions. Regards, Bill Whitmore, President, Friends of the Montebello Unified School District Foundation. President Uribe, that concludes the written public comments. Dr. Ewan, do we have any telephonic public comments?
Yes, we have 10. So our first one is Josefa Sandoval, children exposed to other students with COVID. So give me a moment while I contact. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President Uribe and board members. My name is Josefa Sandoval. I come to you today asking for help. Recently, my daughter was sent home from school, LMI, because she is believed to have been in contact with a student who has tested positive for COVID. This, as a parent, is the worst nightmare. Like most parents, at the beginning of the school year, we made the difficult decision to send our children to in-person schooling opposed to independent studies. Aware that the risks were high, we took as many preventative measures as we could. I can tell you that my daughter feels as if she's being punished for something of no fault of her own. And it is heartbreaking to see her struggle through this. I don't like to present problems without trying to find solutions that may help. I keep thinking one or two things could have well kept or even cut these exposures. Something as simple as providing school staff with handheld thermometers that could immediately alert staff of symptoms such as fever. I refuse to believe the excuse that taking each kid's temperature every morning is too time-consuming. Let's be honest to ourselves. This daily wellness check seems pointless to many of us parents. People aren't entirely honest anymore. A lot of money was spent in kiosks that were there just sitting in main offices collecting dust. Let's put this money spent to well use. Other school districts are using these devices every morning before students set foot into school. Why are our schools not doing this? This is very upsetting to us parents who are willing to take the risk sending our kids to school in order for them to have a better education. Another problem that we're having with our daughter is that we feel that she feels as if she's in limbo. She's technically not enrolled in independent studies, and she's not allowed in campus for in-person schooling. How did the school board prepare for these situations? I can tell you that it feels as if nothing was put into place for these very real events. Most of my daughter's teachers have not even been notified that she has been pulled for those 10, 14-day quarantine days. I have to personally email every single teacher to make arrangements so she doesn't fall behind. How is this fair to us parents who are doing their work? Here's a thought. Why don't we allow the teachers to live stream their lectures for students like my daughter to watch at home? We're out of we were out of school for over a year, giving you plenty of time to come up with possible solutions in the event that our children were back to school. As a parent, we're willing to take these risks by sending our kids to school. I will not accept this, nothing less from you school members to take extra measurements to keep our children safe. Thank you.
All right, next we have Tiffany Sanchez calling about the reopening of schools and independent studies. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks. So, hi, Board of Education Administrators. I'd like to speak about independent studies. So I have noticed that teachers could absolutely benefit from live IT support, as in like in Zoom and in Google Classroom support during their synchronous learning time. It's in my understanding that some of the teachers were only given a few days notice that they were actually going to be teaching IS. And that means that they had a few days to refresh on Google Meet and to put together some sort of online curriculum, right? And so having this quote unquote in Zoom or in Google Classroom IT would save the teacher and the students valuable synchronous time, especially since it's so limited, right? And so especially at the TK and third grade level, you know, these students are unfamiliar with these commands, and parents and caretakers and teachers are as well. If there was some IT, some in Zoom IT, it would save a lot of the teacher, I can't open it, or teacher, it's not working fine, right? And so, you know, parents would be able to actually like direct message the IT, and they would be able to get help away from the classroom instead of taking up classroom time, and vice versa. You know, the students could be able to message IT and whatnot. And so I think that getting this instant support would put like I hope you see the benefit in the quality of the learning for IS students in these asks. I also wanted to shout out Mr. Navarro, that his statement was very, very moving. I'm also happy to report that the dual classes started up at week 3. And so kudos to the district, and in particular, Ms. Hakopian, for really listening to parents and seeing the value in the dual program for the IS students, and keeping the parents updated. I want to request that the iReady and the MyOn be accessible to K-5 classes because the rosters haven't been finalized. They're not able to access these really important, useful tools for the IS learning. And then I also noticed that the district has these really cool body temperature tablets that scan body temperatures. And so I also noticed that the schools don't have these. And so it sends a message to parents that the administrator health protocols are way better than our student health protocols. So that to me seems very, very unacceptable. And yeah, that's it. And shout out to the parents that have been calling in and writing letters. It's super important to keep this communication between administration, Board of Education, and parents together, because I think everybody sees the benefit in really pushing for the quality of the education and the students. Yeah, so thanks and have a good night.
Next, we have Aurelia Ayala calling about Winter Gardens Elementary and no combination classes. Okay, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Sí, muy buenas tardes a la mesa directiva. Les agradezco por dar la oportunidad de expresarnos. Queríamos hacerles saber que en Winter Garden estamos muy descontentos, puesto que nos están haciendo combinaciones. Estamos pensando que no están pensando en la salud y en la seguridad de nuestros hijos, ya que están poniendo demasiados estudiantes en los salones. Esto no es apropiado, ya que esto afecta también su educación, su aprendizaje. Lo que queremos es que se pongan a pensar que este COVID es altamente peligroso, el Delta, para nuestros hijos. Están en una edad donde no hay vacuna para ellos. Entonces, le solicitamos encarecidamente que inmediatamente disuelvan esas clases en Wintergarten. Sabemos que en otras escuelas no las han puesto y también son escuelas intermedias. ¿Por qué en Wintergarten siempre nos están haciendo esto? No queremos más clases combinadas. Por favor, actúen inmediatamente. Gracias.
Next, we have Gloria Cunningham calling about desk buddies and face masks. Go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, superintendent, cabinet, and community members viewing from home. My name is Gloria Cunningham, and I am a fifth grade teacher at Wilcox Elementary School. I wish to thank the board member who visited Wilcox Elementary on the first day of school and expressed concern when there was a classroom that did not have the desk buddies up. Your question of why the desk buddies were not up was the correct question. Unfortunately, it was directed at the wrong individual. That question should have been asked of the assistant superintendents that made the purchase and not the teachers whose room you were in. So why weren't the desk buddies up? Well, they were not asked because they do not fit the desk. They do not fit on any of the students' desks properly. They were not asked because the trim around the desk buddies blocks the view of the students. The students literally have to lean back to see around the desk buddies or stand up to see over them. One assistant superintendent told us to make them work, and that is what we teachers do. We spend our time making things work. My desk buddies are held up and in place with binder clips. When they fall, they have scratched students, they have gotten caught in the girl's hair, and they have fallen about 3 times an hour every day. They are not keeping the kids safe. They are keeping the kids from learning because they do not have time to look over them. They have to literally look around them, stand up to look over them, catch them, and readjust them. Every afternoon after the students leave, I spend about 20 minutes trying to fix the desk buddies. I could use that time correcting student work. Instead, I am using the time correcting the work of the assistant superintendent who made a bad purchase. Another question to ask the person that ordered the desk buddies is why were the same desk buddies ordered for every student in every classroom in the district? We are not a one-size-fits-all school district. We teach pre-K through 12th grade. Would you buy everyone the same book? No. Why would you buy everyone the same desk buddies? We don't have the same size desk. We are not a one-size-fits-all school district. Another one-size-does-not-fit-all purchase are the disposable face masks. We do not have any child-size disposable masks at Wilcox. Again, there are no child-size face masks at Wilcox. We only have adult-size face masks, and our students are not adults. It does not matter how many times you twist the loops, the face masks do not fit properly. So if you are trying to keep the students safe, start with the face masks. Face masks are proven to keep our students safe, and if they're worn properly. That means we need the correct size. Again, we are not a one-size-fits-all district. Children need child-size face masks. I understand you want to keep the students safe. I want to keep our students safe too, and that's why I'm speaking to you tonight. If you truly want to keep the desk buddies up, okay, buy new ones. If you want to keep the kids safe, buy child-size face masks. Make you look good on paper. They do not make you look good in the classroom.
All right, thank you. That was 3 minutes.
Not fit off.
Next, we have Sandra Ramirez calling about security measures. Go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Ok, gracias. Buenas tardes a todos. De antemano, gracias por su tiempo. Yo tengo nietos en Wintergarten y me preocupa todo lo que está pasando. Pero más que nada quisiera saber ¿por qué si ustedes siguen teniendo juntas virtuales que protegen la salud de ustedes, mientras que nuestros niños ponen en riesgo su salud todos los días? En mi opinión, la salud de los estudiantes es tan valiosa como la de ustedes, y es una injusticia que ellos estén en riesgo todos los días, un riesgo que ustedes no están tomando de la misma manera que ellos. Por otra parte, me gustaría pedirles que por favor respeten el programa de doble inversión, ya que tiene una estructura específica para cada grado. Por esta razón les pido que no hagan combinación de clases, ya que no es beneficioso para nuestros estudiantes. Si es necesario, por favor, manden más maestros a Wintergarten para que cada grado cumpla sus metas académicas y también haya menos estudiantes en los salones para que haya menos riesgos de contagio de COVID. Gracias. Tengan buenas tardes.
Next, we have Ricardo Diaz calling about safety concerns. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, so I'm calling because I have some safety concerns for regarding my daughter. So my daughter and I have my daughter and a few other 2 other children. I'm sorry, in Winter Gardens Elementary, and I got a concern. My daughter was asked to self-quarantine because she was exposed to someone who tested positive. However, when I asked about her siblings, I was told they did not have to quarantine. To me, this is ridiculous and somewhat absurd when they share the same household. Whatever protocol the district is using has to be looked into immediately and should be changed. Situations like this put so many students, entire families at risk. It seems to me MUSD was not prepared to keep our students safe. You guys rushed it, and our children are paying the consequences. I would like to know if the district will start asking siblings to quarantine as well. In addition, I would like for you guys to look into having smaller classes for the safety of our students. The district has not kept their word on keeping our students safe. They're sharing desks. They're not keeping a 3-foot distance in the class. I think that's it, actually.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Andrea Garcia calling about return to school. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, members of the board. Sorry. Good evening, members of the board. As a parent, I want to express disappointment and the poor planning for the start of the school year. The lines to drop off and pick up students are ridiculous. The safety of our students in one incident was jeopardized by a teacher thinking it was a good idea to mix students and do stations, exposing the whole class instead of only the students that were within the 6 feet when the student tested positive. We need leadership and protocol from the board. As a classified staff, I also want to speak on how overwhelmed we are and there is no support that's offered at the school site. When we reached district office for independent studies, it was dropped on the school sites without support. It added a workload for the schools that have independent studies, including the backflow that we have from not being in the office during COVID. We are expected to do our normal duties, and you pile on anything additional without thinking of what needs to get done at the school site, the parents that come in, the students that we need to service. We transitioned to a new school year, to a new student information system with limited training and no answers on how to fix the mess that merging the systems created. You do not have additional custodians to do the additional cleaning. We do not have nurses at each school site daily and are expecting the office staff to do it without any training or protocol. Without any additional time to do all these duties, how do you expect staff and students to remain safe if we are overworked and there is a low morale? When classified staff isn't appreciated, productivity lacks. We need the board to lead and offer direction, to set protocols so we can also save students, staff, teachers. I also would like to comment as a parent that I do believe your camera should be on so we can see expressions from the board members. It seems like we're talking to a wall when there is no person on the other end. Thank you. Have a good night.
Next, we have Christine Dimas calling about the district's financial problems. Your call's going straight to voicemail. Let me go down to the next one and come try her again later. Next one is Leslie Vega, and comment is concerns return to school.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members, teachers, students, community members, and parents like myself. I am a parent from Winter Gardens Elementary. I would like to start off by letting you know it's very disappointing to hear from my children that they are currently sharing a desk with other students. If the district was not ready with individual desks for each student, you guys should have waited to send students back to school instead of rushing. I completely understand dealing with COVID has been challenging and hard for everyone. However, it worries me to see that the suggestions from the Health Department of California are not being enforced. The district presented protocols that would be used, but never mentioned the loopholes you guys would hide under. As a parent, I feel the district was not honest in presenting complete information in order for me to make such an important decision to send my children back to school or keep them at home. On another point, I would like to point out that all MUSC students in schools have always had to wait very long periods of time in order to receive materials, to get ventilation systems up to date, and I could mention 1,000 more things. Enough is enough. During these hard times of COVID, all I'm asking is for you guys to keep our students, teachers, and community safe. Having so many students in such small classrooms is not safe for anyone. And having combination classes is not in the best educational interest of our children. It seems to me that the district is only looking at the benefits that you guys could get instead of actually thinking of our students. I really do ask that you guys take into consideration all the voices of all the parents speaking speaking tonight in regards to our students. We're all sending our students to school, and what you guys are giving in return to us is absolutely nothing. I suggest that you guys look into the suggestions that are being presented by the CDC, by the Health Department, and that you guys actually follow through with them instead of hiding behind those loopholes. Thank you for your time and have a great night.
Next, we have Nadine Garcia calling about Shore High School. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, yes, I am calling in regards to Shore High School. So one of my concerns is I want to know is why wasn't it taken care of in advance if we knew years before about the rat infestation? What I want to know is why it took so long to get taken care of. Was it because we may have got caught when they came to maybe inspect to make sure that we were up to par with the regulations that were needed for COVID? Is that the only reason we're taking care of this? Because I know that our district does have a tendency to not take care of important business that needs to be taken care of. I would like to know why were the teachers even using their hands to even try to clean this up? Wrong, 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 wrong. A professional should have been brought in from day one to take care of this situation. Another concern is in regards to the students in high school with COVID. Some of the kids have already been forced to go home because they may have been in contact with someone that has COVID. So what I want to know is how is this going to affect their attendance? They're being forced to go home and can't go back until they clear with a negative test result. So how is that considered? Is that being considered as an excused absence? Is it an excused absence? And then another thing, I don't know if you guys are aware. So the grades with this whole COVID situation. So I'm aware, we're using a new software for grades. We're using Power School, I believe is what it's called now. So now my daughter's grades were being affected by this new software. So when I went to approach the principal, I was told that the teachers were not trained how to use the software. Is this acceptable? No, it's affecting the kids' grades. The teachers were not able to input grades like they're supposed to in a timely manner. Their grades may not have been accurate. They're high school students. They're stressed. They have to retake classes because they failed when they possibly didn't fail because the teacher didn't know how to use the software. So I really do feel that something needs to be done in regards to this, and I would, like some answers, because it's not okay that the kids do not get to go back to school like they're supposed to. Why did they inform us literally the day before, on a Friday, around 6, 7 o'clock, when the district was closed, we can't get any answers. I feel like they let us know on that day like it was planned. These things are not okay, and I would like answers. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. And then I'll call Christine Dimas one more time. I called twice and it was both time voicemail. So that concludes our telephonic public comments.
Thank you, Dr. Yuan. At this time, we will move on to item 10, discussion and action items. We're going to consider item 10A, adoption of resolution number 2, 2021-2022 resolution calculation and adopting the appropriations limit for fiscal year 2020, 2021, and projected appropriations limit for fiscal year 2021, 2022. I would like to call on Mr. Ellingson.
Good evening, Madam President. Thank you so much. Members of the board, our community, and fellow cabinet members. This is part of the annual process required of the districts, where the governing board would adopt a resolution setting the appropriations limit for the current fiscal year, as well as the projected fiscal year. So tonight, we recommend that the Board of Education approves resolution number 2, 2021-2022, resolution calculating and adopting the appropriation limit for fiscal year 2020-2021 and projected appropriations limit for fiscal year 2021-2022.
Thank you, Mr. Ellingson. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve this item. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to consider item 10B, approval of 2020-2021 unaudited actuals. And I would like to call on Mr. Ellingson again.
Thank you again, Madam President. Tonight, we bring the final report in the reporting cycle, what is a year's worth of reporting to the board for approval, and that is our unaudited actuals. Of particular note, you'll notice that the unrestricted general fund declined by just over $15 million, and that's due primarily to our decline in enrollment that we're facing, as expenditures pretty much remained constant. There wasn't really much of a change from prior year to this year. And the district was able to meet its financial obligations for the year and anticipates meeting its financial obligation for the 2 subsequent fiscal years as reflected in our budget. So tonight, we recommend that the Board of Education approves the standardized account code structure, the SACS report, as it's widely known, of the district's unaudited actual report for year 2020-2021 fiscal year. The report has been posted on the district's website as well.
Thank you, Mr. Ellingson. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Motion.
I'll second that. Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to consider item 10C, ratification of Assembly Bill 1200, AB 1200 Public Disclosure document regarding the Memorandum of Understanding MOU associated with the Board of Education of the Montebello Unified School District and Montebello Teachers Association. And I would like to call on Mr. Ellingson.
Thank you again, Madam President. This is an MOU reached by Memorandum of Understanding, reached by the Teachers Union, the MTA for Montebello, and the district for returning to school and the impacts associated with COVID-19. This document was posted on the district's website as required for public viewing, as well as sent to the county office for review and response. And tonight we bring this to the board for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellingson. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
I believe it was Mr. Ramirez. Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to consider item 10D, ratification of Memorandum of Understanding between Montebello Unified School District and the Montebello Teachers Association, Return to School 2021-2022. And I would like to call on Ms. Kopian.
Good evening, Madam President Uribe, esteemed board members, Superintendent Dr. Scavarna, Executive Cabinet, and community participants. As you're aware, the Montebello Unified School District and Montebello Teachers Association met to negotiate the issues related to the COVID-19 coronavirus impact and the return to school. The MOU addressed areas such as bargaining unit member preparation, adherence to health guidelines, PPE, instructional materials, stipend, and lower class size. It's my pleasure to present for your ratification the MOU between the MUSC and the MTA regarding the return to school, dated July 30th, 2021, and corrected on August 2nd. The district looks forward to continued positive and collaborative negotiations with the Montebello Teachers Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Akopian. I move to approve this item. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled for further discussion and or action? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. At this time, we're going to move on to board member reports, and I will begin with Ms. Gutierrez.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and just welcoming everyone back to start of school. I want to take this time to actually mention that board member Magaña and myself, we've been visiting school sites. It has been a really great pleasure going to talk to the principals, to visit the classrooms, to speak with teachers, to see how is it going, how can we support, and it's been really, really amazing to go to the school site. I also want to take some time to bring to the attention that we did lose a former student, a MUSD student. He was ASB president at Bow Gardens High School in 2019, Miguel. So let's keep him in our hearts and keep his family in our prayers. Miguel was an amazing scholar. He lost his life to the battle of cancer. So let's just keep his family in our thoughts. And that concludes my report for today. Have a great evening, everyone.
Ms. Cabrera.
Buenas noches, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Just have two quick things. One, if I could get an update on the Bell Gardens High School marquee. I believe last time I checked in, it was working, but seems like it might not. So if I can get updates on that. And the second thing is directed to Shore High School students. I want to apologize. We should have done better. We need to do better. And we are working really hard to make sure that we are able to have you back on campus safely as soon as possible. So again, just want to apologize to you all. And that concludes my report.
I'm sorry, Ms. Magaña.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you to everyone that called in. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your thoughts, your ideas, your perspective. You know, we are working hard. We are considering everything that you're saying. So just thank you so much. We continue working, we continue moving. We have a great team working. You know, thank you to MTA president for your comments, your feedback. Thank you to CSCA president, Ms. Marisol Rivera. You know, you guys truly are the backbone of this district, and just thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. I truly appreciate it. Thank you to our cabinet, you know, thank you so much for working so hard. And thank you to our students, and, you know, also for our Shore High School students, thank you so much. You know, it was such an amazing uplifting to hear the Sure High School president speak, right? Like she's so positive, and I love that, you know, this setback is not determining your attitude towards the rest of the year. You know, as a former alumni of Sure High School, you know, I feel deeply what happened. I think that we all do, you know, and we are continuing to push forward. You know, thank you so much for being resilient. Thank you so much for being positive. Thank you so much, you know, just for your great energy. And thank you to all the students that are just cooperating with us. You know, this doesn't determine the rest of the year for us. You know, we are working hard and we have a great team. So just thank you all so much and have a great evening.
Mr. Ramirez.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm happy to be here. September 1st. You know, we've had a bumpy start. I know pickup and drop-offs have been rough. You know, I joined my little sister to drop off my nephews last week on Friday, and I could see some of the irregularities or some of the miscommunication that's happening between families and our schools, and we need to do a better job of doing that. And I'm happy to hear from all our constituents, all our parents, all our students, the concerns that are coming up. And again, as we've never done this before, this is the first time in over 100 years where we're coming out of a pandemic in this situation. So as we continue to make adjustments and adapt, thank you so much for being resilient and reaching out to us. And it's really important for us here at the district that we're getting that feedback so that we can continue to improve ourselves and the education that we're providing your students. Other than that, I really hope your students are happy to be back. I know I'm happy to be back in the classroom. I know, you know, students are happy to be in the classroom with me. And so I'm just glad that we finally have this opportunity to be face-to-face and not just be looking at screens all day. Other than that, please be safe, wear a mask, drink lots of water. Have a good night, everyone.
Dr. Ewan, I would actually like to begin my board member report. Can you share a little bit on the Acceleration Learning Lab Forum coming up?
Yes, so the Montebello Unified School District is currently offering accelerated learning labs at all of our schools. The schools will be offering strategic and intensive acceleration within the school day for students who struggled last year during distance learning. The other component of the ALL program is providing parents with workshops, resources, and information so they can support their children at home. We will be hosting an ALL parent town hall meeting next Tuesday, September 7, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Parents who have students participating in the ALL program will receive an invitation to attend this town hall meeting to learn more about the program. In addition, a Blackboard phone message will be sent to all parents, but only the parents of students in the ALL program should attend.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ewan. I also just want to begin by just acknowledging the fact that the students are back on campus, being able to walk through the campuses, asking students what's working, what's not, speaking to staff, you know, just learning how we can improve this experience as students are returning. There's so many dynamics. There's so many moving parts. So it's so helpful to actually be there visually and just to see everything. So that's been wonderful. It's nice to see students smiling, playing, talking to one another. Another thing I also want to inform our community is that we do have our DIA Independent Studies teachers now available for the Spanish program. You know, we're trying to offer support systems to every student that has children to be at home during this pandemic, you know, whatever reasons they may be. We are not forgetting you. We are very mindful of our students and offering support systems and resources to those who are home. Another thing, I just want to thank the parents, caregivers, everyone who's participated today. I have just countless notes. Definitely will be many conversations tomorrow with our team just to see what we can do, what we can strategize, how we can plan, and ultimately how we can improve, because that's what it comes down to, is assuring that our students and staff and parents are comfortable and safe, and just, you know, doing everything we can to support them. So with that, I just leave you. I welcome everyone back, and I just thank everyone for joining us this evening. And I move to recess into closed session. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez,
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez,
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera,
Aye.
Ms. Magaña.
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. We will now recess into closed session.
Good evening. Vice President Gutierrez, President Uribe isn't able to join on right now. Connectivity issues. Could you please finish up the meeting?
If we can have Vice President Gutierrez chair the remainder of the meeting, please.
Yes, give me 1 second. Okay, legal counsel, can you give us a report out?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Gutierrez. We convened into closed session at 7:52 p.m. with closed session discussions commencing at 7:54 p.m. Present in closed sessions via video conference were the following: Vice President Gutierrez, Clerk Ramirez, Board Member Cabrera, Board Member Magaña, President Uribe, Ms. Copado, Dr. Scavarna, Dr. Ewan, Dr. Garland, Mr. Ellingson, Ms. Hakopian, and Mr. McGuire. As to item A1 in the closed session agenda, a briefing and update was provided to members of the board by a 4-1 vote, with Vice President Gutierrez not voting, which apparently was due to a technical or loss of connectivity. The motion was to approve the settlement agreement. Nothing further to report on the matter. As to items A2, A3, and A4, a briefing and update was provided to members of the board by motion with a 5-0 vote. There was a motion to approve the settlement agreements as presented. Nothing further to report on those matters. At 8:07 p.m., members of the executive cabinet exited closed session. As to item B, as listed in closed session, members of the board were provided with a briefing and an update. No reportable final action was taken. Nothing further to report. Closed session discussions concluded at 8:36 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Copado. At this time, I'd like to have a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All right, let's do a roll call. Board Member Ramirez,
Aye.
Board Member Cabrera,
Aye.
Board Member Magaña.
Aye.
And then President Uribe is not present, and I for myself. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Good night.